Alright, hey guys, here we are doing one of my first new tutorial videos. Going to give you an overview of my song Lost Dreams with Jayceeoh and Kaleena Zanders. We're going to give you a little inside look at the whole Ableton session, how everything was constructed, and kind of my general workflow and process throughout. So a lot of stuff with the song is about keeping things simple and keeping the elements really minimal. A big part of it was how can we get the maximum motion, minimal bandwidth? And a lot of that was having a guitar, really simple guitar with power chords, and having a really powerful female vocal. And then these other elements gradually build in there, more chords, other elements that are adding and reinforcing it, like the leads are all coming together, gelling together. There's lead guitars coming together with lead synthesizers, a lot of elements, but it's really about keeping simplicity throughout. So this is a typical session I'd have. All the drums are in blue, very simple. Different shades of blue for different types of drum buses. Purple for the guitar chords, for the synth chords. The leads are cyan. Bass is kind of dark red. Guitars are always green, vocals are always red, and so on. So a big part of that is just having the eye lock onto the color coordination and seeing, being able to quickly distinguish where you are in the section. Big part of my workflow is using the arrangement markers, and it's super helpful if you want to assign numbers to them. You can jump around with the transport and also audition different drops. It's super powerful. So I'll often go in there and assign more numbers and go through there. So moving along with the song, I'm going to go through some of the other sections and explain a little bit of the processing and the workflow behind that.
Like where shadows collide.
To create a sense of space, I use these breakdowns to really open it up. The full vocal is only really hitting in the breakdowns and the pre's.
Caught in between the moon and lost dreams, we found a light where shadows.
And in the drops, it's a little more simple. More like an ad-lib that keeps getting repeated over and over. So there's a big contrast between those drops and the breakdowns. I always like doing that with a breakdown, having 2 bars, 4 bars, sometimes 8 bars of space before that vocal pops back in. So that's useful. And with this song, it's really quick. It's a really short radio edit, just about 3.5 minutes. I'm definitely doing shorter songs these days for streaming platforms. I think it's just way more effective like that. And then I do an extended club mix with obviously a longer intro and outro, but even now, as people are making quicker edits, doing quicker mixes, you don't need to have an extended mix be 6 minutes long. Okay, so let's break down what's happening in that drop. There's a big sort of detuned lead. There's a bunch of chord layers with a Wurlitzer that's using various plugins. I think it's Serum. These are all flattened and frozen. But Serum, Keyscape, and maybe Silence was in there. A little slide effect with Effectrix on there. I love that plugin. There's the Wurlitzer. And then you've got all these lead layers, super saws, also a guitar lead. So I had the synth just by itself with that lead sound, and it wasn't really big enough, so I added in a guitar to echo that. And the bass is very simple. The bass is more about supporting what else is happening with the track. Sine wave pumping along there, and some mid-range frequencies in there. That same slide effect from Effectrix going on. But the real star of the show here is the guitar. So I played all this live, obviously went in, melodined it, tweaked the timing and the tuning a bit. I love this part of the track though. guitar is getting some distortion from FabFilter Saturn, some stock EQ, Camel Crusher is a big part of that. Tube Warmth and Clean British are presets that I love. Doing some carving out of those low frequencies that tend to happen after distortion. And a little limiter to push it. Also, LFO is being used for all the sidechaining throughout. And every track, of course, has utility on it. And the new utility in Live 10 is amazing. Really useful for narrowing the lows and pushing the highs a little wider, doing some mid-side balance work. So let's hear a little more of this guitar. I like melancholy kind of, just adds that emotion to the song, and it totally changed the whole perspective of the song. It really worked everything around it. And those are really simple. That's like 2 notes on a guitar. I don't play guitar nearly as well as piano, so I'll fumble around, just play by ear until something sounds right, and eventually it clicks. Even just that vocal and the guitar, I love that just by itself.
We can dance with the stars. When I'm with you, I don't care where we are. Let the rain fall, let it.
So the ad-libs are really important. Those are part of the drop that just add that energy. I think I love having human elements in the drop, something that sort of pulls you in, pushes it along, adds that energy. It's almost being used as a percussive element, and a lot of times I'll just chop that vowel right in half and play around with that envelope of that sound, put it in simpler, or just chop it manually. I think with this I just did manual chops. And I like how the edits are a little rough in there. They're not super faded, and I wanted them to have a little bit of edge to them. I didn't want it to be totally smooth. I wanted there to be a little envelope to it. When I'm doing vocals, I always do doubles, do the lowest possible volume version with pitch before it turns to just breath. Doing those breath takes can be kind of hard on a vocalist voice after a while, so I just try to have a few layers of that after we've really nailed those crucial first takes, getting the melody right, getting the top line, and then it's like time for the window dressing and doing all the fun stuff. That's the worst part, is when you have to change a lyric after you've put all the window dressing on, and you have to go back and redo everything.
We can dance with the stars.
So there's some low register takes.
We can dance with the stars.
Some doubles.
When I'm with you, I don't care where we are. Let the rain fall, let it color our hearts. Paradise lives wherever we are.
Those vocal chops are kind of used as a build here. Like, get on up. I'm really excited to hear people's remixes of this. We may put this on Splice. And as far as effects, you know, I had a bunch of sweeps and pulls. I like the Cashmere stuff a lot. Speaking of Splice, I like just being able to visually see them when they're just MIDI notes triggered. I don't really like that as much, so it's nice to see those impacts. What do those sound like? Those are typical. Some bass drops and some crashes and sweeps. In terms of the other main effects, I always have a short reverb, a long reverb, a dedicated vocal reverb, because once you stem out all those effects, there's going to be some ghosting with the vocals. Huge pain in the ass, so I'm building that into my templates now. Sometimes you'll have an effects return that's a guitar reamp or distortion, and just another way to sort of blend in a balance of effects. Typically I use the Main American Waves plugin for reverb, but I love the new FabFilter Pro R. It's incredible. That's kind of my go-to now. As far as the master, usually I have a little bit of high pass EQ on there. I have a mid-side effect of just a little bit of widening and narrowing up to 150 Hertz for the bass. Using Ozone to match EQ to add some highs overall. I can show you how that sounds, the main difference. Let's loop the drop. So just a little bit, 5%. You can hear a little bit of difference. As you go up higher, it's just a little too harsh. So kind of subtle, but it depends how well mixed your song is. But this is matching to pink noise, so super cool concept, and it's very fun. Especially with the monitors I have, sometimes I don't mix bright enough. I have the Focal SM9s, and sometimes they flatter it, and they're not. The song's not bright enough. Okay, so moving along, there's a little bit of widening going on. Still probably one of the most natural sounding and useful wideners. A little bit of compression. I try to keep it like 3 to 4 dB. It's probably getting, this is pumping a little more than usual. I love the UAD Precision Maximizer for mastering. It's super handy. And then I also love the FabFilter Pro L. That is awesome. But that pretty much wraps it up. Might do a few more videos, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Make sure to save that song Lost Dreams to your Spotify playlist, and I'll see you soon.